What's up, everybody? It's Luke James, not the singer. If you're looking to get your music reviewed, you can hit up this email that's right here. But today I'm going to hit you up with my thoughts and opinions on this album from Blood Orange called Negro Swan. Blood Orange is the alias of British singer, songwriter, and producer Devonte Hines, and while I do know that he has plenty of work out there, this is the first time I've ever checked a project of his. I just wanted to make that clear because I don't really have any frame of reference in regards to his past work, but I am excited to talk about this project because I really think it's one of the best things I've heard all year. Right from jump, I want to talk about the production because it's very lively and organic, so if you're a fan of alternative R&B, I think you'll really like what he has happening here, and we're going to speak on some of those moments that grabbed me right from the start. So, I liked when those flutes crept in on Take Your Time. This one is a very minimalistic keyboard track that has a mellow vibe to it, so I really appreciated this production. Out of Your League has an 80s feel because of the thick kicks and chunky bass line, and then with the song Orlando, you're getting a funky bass line that is going to have your head swinging around like Stevie Wonder. Really one of the more upbeat tracks on the project, so I did like it for that. Now, Orlando also finds Blood Orange reflecting on being bullied as a youth, as he sadly sings that his first kiss was a floor, so he's showing a lot of vulnerability on this track and throughout this album. He actually goes much deeper into this on the song called Dagenham Dreams. Dagenham Dreams, I should say. On here, he's singing about a specific time where he got beat up so badly that he actually switched up who he was in order to fit in, and it kind of touched my heart when he says that his teacher saw him and got really sad about it, you know what I mean? His teacher probably knew who he was as a student and knew that he was different from everyone else, and to see him broken with his spirit like that, just trying to change who he is in order to basically survive and not get picked on, that is a sad thing, man. Really kind of touching how he spoke on that, and he does a really good job at putting out his emotions on this project. Really is the type of thing you can listen to and getting your feelings over, unless you ain't got no heart, man. You might be a no-heart motherfucker, in which case, hey, man, you might not like some of that stuff. Now, this track also has a bit of a shadowy vibe to it, as well as an 80s sound once again because of the percussion style. And I like the outro on here from trans activist Janet Mock. She speaks on how sometimes we got to do what we got to do for survival. Sometimes when you're different from other people, you just have this hyper-awareness that is always lurking in the shadows. So I really appreciate how she tied that song together. She actually does show up multiple times throughout this project, which really does help with the concepts, including on the little interlude Family, where she breaks down how family can go beyond the biological idea of things, and just having people who you can be yourself around and feel at ease. Really do like the content on this project, and it is easily one of the things that sticks out about it. So when you do take that content, you take the unique singing vocals and unique production, you get a very unique listen, man. There's not much out there that I can think of that sounds like this, so I really did enjoy it for that reason, but I also gotta say that it might take a bit of time to get used to some of these vocals and production choices. On the first listen, I was like, there's a couple spots I like, it's alright. On the second listen, I picked up on some more things, but after the next listen, I really love this project, man. I often get asked how many times I listen to a project before reviewing it, and this one is a perfect example of a project that takes a bit more time. If someone's just dropping a very simple auto-croon project with typical 808 beats and typical content, I really don't need to hear it multiple times to know how I feel about it. But when you are getting some different things like this, I do take a bit more time because I know it's the type of project that sometimes has to grow on you know what I mean? It is different, so you might not like everything at first, but I do think it's worth your time if you listen to it. It's just that his vocals are kind of raw in spots, so I don't always love every vocal performance. Some of the more subdued and minimalistic beats I'm not in love with because that's just not my thing, but in spite of that, I think the tracks go together pretty well. Even some of those more subdued tracks like Vulture Baby are still interesting because they deal with something. This is a track that deals with the culture vultures, particularly white people who like steal from black culture and hip-hop culture and then they go back to their old ways. And even though he didn't say anybody's name on this, according to an interview, it seems like it might have been aimed at Miley Cyrus, who did just that. So I appreciate this track because it is bringing some more content. Part of me as I'm scrolling through my notes here, man, this is a long one and I just want to make sure I get on everything. So I also wanted to speak on the overall concept of the Negro Swan and just how that's a very cool idea because it ties in with the idea of the ugly duckling and the black sheep. Just being that different person who, if you stick to who you are in your path, you can become beautiful and do everything, and yet it's not always an easy road because you are looked at as different. This is something that comes up on the song Charcoal Baby. This is one of my favorites because of the beautiful vocals and soft guitar production, and the hook says, "No one wants to be the odd one out at times, no one wants to be the Negro Swan." Again, I love the production here and the vocals, so there is a bit of an uplifting vibe to this, but that hook is kind of sad, you know what I mean? I really like how this project is able to be sad, beautiful, and uplifting all at the same time. There really is a certain madness to it when you listen through, just the way that he brings these lyrics and these nice vocals, and yet this very hard and difficult to swallow content at times, but I think it's great how he did that, because that's what makes it so unique, man. I feel like unique is the word of the day for this shit, because I can't compare it to a lot of other projects, although I have seen people comparing it to other alternative R&B projects, which I don't necessarily agree with, so we'll move on from that. But I also like the song Chewing Gum because you're getting this dark atmospheric vibe with spacey pads and keys, and A$AP Rocky fit this track perfectly, man. I know I've been really hard on him lately because I didn't like his last album Testing much at all, but he felt like he was in his zone on this one, you know what I mean? He floated on this beat, his vocal style and some of that sing-songiness worked perfectly, so this is the A$AP Rocky that I like. Now, his verse is just on some sexual stuff, so it's not too deep, but it does tie into that Kingpin Skinny Pimp sample that's all about looking for the chewing, which is slang for, you know, getting that chewing, not some, you know, not some chewing tobacco. I'm talking about getting some slurp, slurp, burp, burp, you know what I mean, or whatever you want to call it. But I like that inclusion of the Kingpin. Fuck, I'm having a hard time saying Kingpin Skinny Pimp. Kingpin Skinny Pimp. Say that 5 times fast. I like the inclusion of that sample on there. I thought that was dope. You also get Project Pat listed as a feature, but he's just doing a little intro and outro, so that was kind of disappointing. But still, this is a really dope track, and you do get a little bit of thought-provoking content here, because on the hook it says, "Tell me what you want from me," which I took as him just speaking on the exhaustion of dealing with people who are never satisfied, man. It does have that sort of gloomy feel to it, so this whole project really is just dealing with the idea of identity, trying to be accepted, trying to be true to yourself and find your way. At least that's what I took from it, so there are lots of instances that really tie into that. Now, I did mention the Rocky sample being dope, and there are plenty of other vocalists on here that are featured and adding a lot to this project, man. I really like the vocal layers and harmonies that you're getting from all these guests, but one of the standouts to me was Tay Shy on Hope. She has this very soft, whispery sort of style that kind of reminds me of Sid from the internet, so it matched up nicely with this beat. Very mellow beat once again, and you are getting Diddy featured on here talking his shit. Usually I don't like that. I'm kind of tired of Diddy because he shows up on songs, he'll be featured, but he's just doing ad-libs or whatever. But I did find it kind of interesting to hear him speak on his fear of being loved. That was kind of cool, man. Again, it ties in with that idea of acceptance and being comfortable. So Diddy did bring some more thought-provoking stuff on here, which was cool, and thematically it did fit in with the rest of the album. But at the end of the day, man, I know this review was just all over the damn place because it's that type of album. There's just so much to get into that I was trying to keep it compact and touch on as much as I could without dragging it on too long. But I'm going to go with the 4 out of 5 here, man. The only track I really didn't like is Holy Will because it's basically just a gospel praise Jesus type of track. But for the most part, I liked a lot of what was going on here. I did have my minor gripes with the vocals and spots, as well as the production being kind of dull and boring once in a while. Like, not very often, because most of the production on this is dope, but there are some more subdued tracks that I don't see myself coming back to. But this is still a really great album that I can see making my year-end list for sure. 4 out of 5 feels fair to me. You guys let me know what you think in the comments section. And of course, make sure you do all that good YouTube and social media stuff where you show me love and you show me lots of it. As you hear the sound of my wrist snapping, man, I'm just falling apart. God damn it, I'm getting old, man. You guys probably, you know, some of you have been watching me for years now when I was all young and spry, but now you're hearing me crack all up on the microphone and shit like that, but I'm still here, man. Still surviving. We're still going. Thank you for supporting. You know how it goes. I will see you next time.